Welcome to another episode of Cinematic Anarchy, where today we will be discussing the film A Life Less Ordinary with Sarah from Two Chicks Talkin Flicks. Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
That was probably one of the most professional openings I have ever done on this podcast.
Good job. It only took like 10 takes, but we got there.
10 takes. Yeah, 10 takes, a few interruptions. That was my fault, though. I left the towel where I left it.
How dare you leave the towel?
It's just out of context, yes. I wiped up an entire greasy mess that just hit me in the chest while I was doing dishes and left the towel unceremoniously on the table in the kitchen. And that was bad of me to do, only because, like, if you've never been in our kitchen, we live in a very, very small apartment.
Yeah.
Like, if I get up and walk 5 feet to the right, I'm in my kitchen. And if you walk 1 foot to the right of the table, and there is where the laundry actually is. We have a nice little closed-in alcove for our laundry, our washing machine, and our dryer. And I could have very simply just tossed it in the basket. What did I do? I put it on the table and then got distracted by something else because ADHD is a thing and I can't get away from it.
Same.
So, yeah. So we tried. I got 7 seconds into the last take, and he came into the room, and I started like shooing him away. Go, leave, because I was trying to get it out, and then I saw the look that he shot me out of the corner of my eye of just absolute, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you shooing me? And I had to stop and address the issue before we started again.
Yeah.
So today, we are going to be talking about a sort of, I don't know if this is obscure. I know a lot of people I personally know have not seen this movie.
Yeah.
A Life Less Ordinary, starring Ewan McGregor, Cameron Diaz, Delroy Lindo, Holly Hunter, and a whole cast of other bits and pieces.
Tucci.
Stanley Tucci was in it. Tony Shalhoub.
Yes, I love Tony Shalhoub.
A bit part, and he just that part near the end where he's like, she's out of my league, and he just looks at him like, what are you talking about? Look at you.
Yeah.
And I agree. Look at you and look at her, and if she sees something in you, then what the hell do you mean she is not your type?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, she's not my type.
Yeah.
In this movie, she is batshit crazy, and I feel like if that is what made her fall in love with him, that's like, if you make somebody fall in love with you, you've constantly got to up your game to kind of keep them interested. And if that whole scenario that happened in this movie is what got her interested, how do you keep her interested?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have so many bewildered thoughts about this movie. I'm befuddled. I am flabbergasted. I'm all
those
gasted.
words that just mean, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yes. While we were watching, I was like, what is happening? And my sister asked, who picked this movie? I said, it was not me. I did not pick this.
This is worth the watch, though. It's just so batshit crazy that it works. It really is. I don't agree with the 41% that they have. You don't think it does? I'm glad that you don't think it does, because that means we'll have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
You'll throw some hate at it. I'll throw some love at it, and I don't like how it ends. I really don't.
Yeah. No. Apparently, there's more after the credits. Did you know that?
There is.
I missed it. I turned it off.
The angels waking up back in heaven after having been shot in the head unceremoniously.
Oh, okay. I did see that. Is there more?
And then there's a whole claymation sequence at the end.
Missed that completely.
Where they basically somehow drive to Scotland and buy a castle.
Okay.
Where the weird guy, Todd from the woods, and his best friend, army buddy, that apparently thinks he's a dog now, they basically run the castle for Cameron Diaz and yeah. I don't have a lot to say about the sequence at the end, other than it's just as batshit crazy as
Yeah.
the entire film, and it really makes me itch for like a sequel. It really does.
It just makes me itch.
This whole film.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
One, it's just my brain. Let me.
I'm very curious about what really set you off about this film.
I'm just perplexed. And then I thought I would find my people online. I would go to Reddit and I would find all the people saying, "Why did I watch this movie?" And what I found was a whole community of people that were like, "This is a great movie. I love this movie. This movie's weird, but it's
My
awesome."
people, my people.
And and I was like, "Oh, but where are my people?"
What you got to do is go on IMDb and specifically look up like the bottom of the rung ratings, and that's where you'll find your people. Or go on Letterboxd and find the people that rated it like 1 star. You know, like if
Yeah.
I could give this no stars on Letterboxd, I'd do it. But rah, 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 rah,
Well, these are the reviews I found that I actually like saved. So
rah.
this
Okay,
says choices were absolutely made, but it's an interesting oddity. That was
okay.
one. It's not particularly good, but it's worth watching. It's an interesting blank check-ish kind of project, in my opinion. Blank check, like the kids movie Blank Check? Or is
No,
there a
blank
different?
check. Like somebody wrote a check to this person and says like, spend some money, do whatever you need to do, and make your vision happy. You know, make it
Okay,
happen, not
okay,
happy.
maybe that could be interpreted that way.
Okay.
And then it says, another person said, "I think it's quite bad. It actually sounds more interesting on paper than its execution. Zero chemistry between the two leads, and the angel plotline never feels developed to the point of either interesting or legitimate. Legitimate. That makes sense.
Okay.
I could agree with that. But this other comment brought up a whole different, um, but interesting plot.
Okay.
It says two of a kind and Hearts and Souls are two similar movies with angels mingling with humans, and I enjoyed very much. Weird comment is what I put. Like, okay, I understand Heart and Souls. I've seen it. It's a good movie. Um, but it is nowhere near this movie. Like, it's a sweet movie. I don't know what the hell this was.
I oh thump. Hi.
Sorry.
uh,
Sorry. Keep
it's
dropping my
okay.
phone.
Oh, that makes noise. That does make noise. I would like to say that I think that as much as I like the pairing of Delroy Lindo and Holly Hunter as the angels in this,
Yeah.
I think that all you really needed was Holly Hunter. You didn't need the kind of ultra neurotic offset to that. Even though I guess technically what they were supposed to do is sort of an angels in love thing at the end where they held hands.
Oh, is that what it was?
I feel like he was putting them down there. These people, these two angels, were in charge of basically they're cupids of sorts,
Okay.
led by Gabriel, who they have as what the police commissioner or the police
Yeah.
chief in this, and they are constantly creating failed partnerships.
Uh,
Divorce after divorce after divorce after divorce has been produced by the partnerships they have been given. And I think while this is primarily a movie about these two cupids having to basically bring these two, a lovable loser and an absolute sociopath,
yeah.
together in love, I think it's also about them falling for each other by
Mm,
the end, because it's them not necessarily I don't want to say not believing in love, but them not having found or have been in love that keeps producing all these bad relationships. They're like, we don't know how this works. That's why we keep ending up with this terrible track record. And I think
My
that's why Gabriel gave them a smile at the end as soon as they held hands.
my biggest complaint about the angel premise is that I wasn't sure if they were helping them or hurting them and what they were trying to do. Like they weren't it's like they had never seen people fall in love before. And they were concocting all these weird things to push them together. But like you could have just, like had them meet on a train or meet in the dad's office and uh somehow were pushed together again. I don't know. It was just all the different ways that they did it didn't make sense to me.
I mean, what? Kidnapping, homicide, violence, all sorts of alcohol, all this stuff that you don't think that produces love?
Well, like, how did they know that he would go to the dad's or to his old work when they came to repossess his car? Like, how did they know he would do that?
They were trying to push, in his circumstance, he was just this pushover guy that was used to being pushed and pushed and
Yeah.
pushed and pushed. And they were trying to produce a, I guess, end of his rope kind of circumstance where he had just been broken up with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
He lost his job, he lost his dignity, he lost his home, he lost his car, he lost a bunch of his own belongings, and was left with whatever he had in his hands on the front porch after they evicted him.
Yeah.
And so they put a man at the end of his rope, and a woman who was just absolutely pissed off at her father and bored with life to the point that she's shooting apples off of people's heads for entertainment.
Yeah.
To be fair, by the way, Stanley Tucci getting shot in the head, all his fault. She told him to stay still.
She did, and he moved. That's his own fault.
Uh,
But to be fair, I don't think he saw when she shot the apple off the other dude's head. So, you know.
well, I mean, he put the apple on his head, so I imagine that he had been privy to her William Tell nature.
Yeah.
Like the fact that she likes to do that. He's probably, if he's been dating her, had probably been around her enough to know that she liked to do slightly crazy things like that.
Yeah.
Bored socialite decides, hey, you know what would be fun if I practiced shooting with you, holding up the thing I'm going to shoot right there on
Like,
your head.
when the movie first started, besides Ewan McGregor's part, she was interesting as a character. Like you could tell she was a bored stay-at-home daughter, swimming around in the pool, then shooting apples at these guys for whatever reason. Um,
Were you
eh,
waiting for the opening James Bond music to cue up when she like walked across from the pool to shoot the
right?
apple off the guy's head the first time?
Okay. So speaking of that part, so when I was looking at Reddit and they were saying like, "Oh, this is fabulously shot. Like this movie is perfection, painted photography, whatever." I was like, "Okay, I will give you the part where she's walking across the pool. That looked really good. It did look really good.
Right, right.
The rest of the movie, I don't know how you watched it, but it was like grainy and looked way older than it should have. Now, is that by choice or is that just like it was a lower filmed movie because it didn't have like the grindhouse feel where it was like gross on purpose, but it didn't look clean and crisp and stuff. I mean, it was done in 97. It should look better than that.
I think a lot of it, there was a lot of points during the movie that were bright, well shot. There was great cinematography. There was other points, like especially the whole thing that takes place in the cabin. Anything that took
Yeah.
place in that cabin, the lighting was just terrible.
And also, I looked on IMBD at the trivia and at the goose because I thought someone would say something. Her hair goes from long to short, long to short. long to short. And I'm like, they must have refilmed this after she got a haircut.
More than likely. And his hair was just
Oh, it was awful.
I I don't know what was going on there. It's like he stepped out of a bad 60s film or out of a badly shot version of the commercial for that Floby weasel tool that they used to have at the end of a vacuum.
Yeah, like he was very 70s style, like British rocker that, got washed out of the band or whatever. Like it was not a good look.
It's like we didn't want you for Austin Powers in the Austin
Yeah.
Powers movie, but you can keep the outfit. Don't worry.
Yes. That's exactly what it looked like. Like he looked like he was, the very first fan of the Beatles. Like just I don't know. It was a strange look. He looked good when he was doing the Beyond the Sea part where his hair is
Where
like
his hair
combed
was kind of
back.
slicked back. Yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of the movie, but then I was distracted by her hair because it was way shorter than it was throughout the whole movie, and I was just like, "Oh, what happened to your hair?"
I feel like they didn't make her cut her hair for continuity. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't a hairstylist there.
Yeah,
Like or they couldn't pay the hairstylist to stay on. Like the parts where you see his hair kind of like that, it's just sort of
looks
okay,
like a
well,
wig.
just do your thing. We won't make you style your hair today. She's not here. We can't pay her.
Well, and
Uh,
they looked similar. Like sometimes their hair looked very similar, and I was like, "Who is who?"
uh, yeah.
Have you
I
ever seen those couples that kind of look alike, and you're like, "What's
After
up with
years,
that?"
they just start looking like each other a little
Oh,
bit and
oh no, I was
dressing the
thinking
same.
like the like new couples where you're like, "What's up with that?" Like, did you fall in love with your brother? Because you're like, you look oddly similar.
Okay, we'll move away from the idea that this might have been an incestuous relationship.
No,
That
it's not. I
he
just
gave up the
remember,
boy child at birth. You know.
I I just remember this couple in high school. I thought they were brother and sister because they looked
Ooh.
so much alike. And they were dating, and I'm pretty sure they're married now.
No, no, no. We grew up next door to each other. Did your dad hang out over at their house a lot?
Right? Like they
Just a
were
little.
both very tall, very gangly. They had similar features. And one day I saw their pictures on Facebook and they were married and I was like, "Oh my god, they're still
Just
together."
what you do is you just become really close friends with them, right? And then one year for Christmas, you get invited over, and you give them both, 21 and what is it, 21 and Me, or is it Ancestry.com or whatever? Just give them the boxes, and then wait for the post to start showing up on Facebook. We got divorced today. Turns out that he's my brother, or half brother. There's a lot of genetic material that's a little too similar.
Have you ever seen like on movies or TV shows where they've done that and the people are like, "We're just gonna stay together." Like what?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're not too crazy. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Stay together. Stay
Like
together. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
No. So, I mean, outside of like the hair and the um, cinematography being a little all over the place for you,
Yeah.
is there anything in particular in the film that you just felt was not needed? I
Oh
already gave
god,
you mine. I felt like
so much.
Delroy Lindo was sort of hit or miss. Like they were trying for a good angel, bad angel kind of thing.
Yeah. Was Holly Hunter trying to be like a cowboy? Because she
Her
was like, "Hey,
personality was her personality was very all over the place in this.
hey, we're gonna take your house." Just, well, what are you doing, Holly Hunter? It's like when
We
she
can do this
died.
with or without violence.
Yeah, it's like when she died. Maybe she was a man, like maybe like like a brisk guy, and now she is a female. Like in heaven, she's a female angel. Like maybe they just take shape of whatever angel they need at the time. I don't know, but it was such a choice.
I think she enjoyed the over sexualized and over violent parts of society a little bit too much.
Could
Like she was
be.
really into it, and
Yeah.
Delroy Lindo was like ultra neurotic, like Monica Geller level neurotic.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they should have been reversed, the two, but maybe would have been.
I don't know. I mean,
I
have
don't
you
know.
seen a lot of Holly Hunter's roles?
Yes.
She,
She's kind of in your face.
yeah, she really is. Like, she's got a
Yeah.
very outgoing personality. Everything from like Saving Grace on down to like Raising Arizona.
Yeah.
Her personality has never been neurotic, so to speak. Uh, Delroy Lindo, on the other hand, almost everything that I've seen him in, he's been like this kind of tall, strong, gruff guy. He's
Yeah.
always had a stern personality, so
Mhm.
seeing this kind of worried, neurotic side was fun.
It was a
Felt out of place,
choice.
but it was fun.
It was a choice. Um, I I don't know. I read the um like what the movie was about, and it did not sound like what I watched.
No. No, the description of the movie is very misleading in most
Yeah.
cases.
Yeah, because for some reason I thought they were like working on something together. Like
No? Like,
like
like
she
what?
had the money and she was like gonna be his backer. Like I don't know what review, what not review, what thing I saw, but in my head that's what it translated to. It was very wrong. Very.
Uh, well, okay, so here's the overview. Like, this is like the description that they give for this film. A couple of angels, O'Reilly and Jackson, are sent to Earth to make sure that their next supervised love connection succeeds. They follow Celine, a spoiled rich girl who has accidentally shot a suitor, and, due to a misunderstanding, is kidnapped by janitor Robert. Although Celine quickly frees herself, she stays with Robert for thrills. O'Reilly and Jackson pursue, hoping to unite the prospective lovers. That is probably the least explanation that you could give for what this film is about.
So Fandango says
Okay.
this: disgruntled divine interveners foster a romance between a dreamer who had just lost everything and his kidnapped victim, a sardonic rich woman who loathes her ruthless father.
Hmm.
And for some reason in my head, that was like, oh, they're gonna use her money to like do something. I don't know why I thought that. So I was very confused.
Like I said, like the explanations, the I want a synopsis or whatever that they give in most areas for this film does
Yeah.
not do this film justice.
Well, and what's funny is that I read Angels. Obviously, I just read it to you.
Right.
So when all these people in white in this white building are running around, I go, "Is is this heaven?" I go, "Are they
Heaven is run like a
angels?"
police station. Apparently, this is a. That's what I got. The idea is he's supposed to be like the police chief. What's
Yeah,
his name? Now I'm blanking on this guy's name, even though I love him as an actor. Uh,
he was Cher's dad on Clueless. That's all I know.
Dan Hedaya. Dan Hedaya plays Gabriel. Uh, and first of all, he's great in his role, but I think how this script probably went in somebody's head is like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cast of characters that by no rights should ever play across each other. Just all of these personalities shouldn't mesh in any way whatsoever. I'm going to write them all like they're all in different movies,
Yeah,
and we're going to see if we can make this work.
yeah, that's kind of what it seemed like. So when the angels were uh, shown, I was like, okay, okay, I got it. It's kind of like a Wonderful Life sort of situation.
I was thinking more like Quentin Tarantino makes Pulp Fiction, the romantic comedy.
Yeah, And I could see where her being his kidnappee, um, where they could fall in love. That seems plausible. I've seen movies very similar to that. But
I
the way in which they went about it was very odd. And then all of a sudden, we're supposed to know that she doesn't believe in that kind of stuff because of what X, Y, and Z.
this is still I will say about the movie. This is why I wouldn't rate it. Like, I don't agree with the 41% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, I would give this about a 60 out of
Yeah,
100. The reason why I can't give it more than a 60 is because this is still very young in Cameron Diaz's career as an actress. And so she hasn't cultivated the emotion and personality that she has had in many of her more recent films.
yeah,
Uh, so when she's angry, she plays angry very well. But when
yes,
it slowly slips into being the more romantic comedy side, she just feels out of place. Like there's chemistry between them when she's angry, but when she's in love with him,
yeah.
that's when the chemistry seems to fall apart.
So I thought she was probably the best part of this movie.
Wow,
Um,
okay. I'm like, she's the worst part of this film. And you're like, I think she's the best. I love this. Okay,
yeah.
go ahead, keep going.
Um, like I can see, you can tell from the fact that she's been kidnapped before, and it took 6 weeks for her dad to pay off the people. And I could, you can see where she doesn't get along with people very well. If your own father doesn't pay your captures like on a timely manner, like where, who can you trust and who can you love? So
Right.
I can kind of see that. Um, and so her reaction to him falling in love with her makes sense. His but I will say her attitude towards him all the time is very weird. Like she's just like so blistery. He'll be like, "Oh, so I had this dream," and she's like, "I don't care."
Well, I
Like,
mean, she also seems to be very bored with life. The reason she's
yeah,
agreeing to this is because it's excitement to her. And
yes,
unless it's going like 100 miles per hour, she is bored. She is bored by what her father's been doing. She doesn't want to
yeah,
be around her father, doesn't want to do what her father's doing, doesn't even really like her father. And you can tell that she wanted him dead.
yeah,
Like in the very beginning, after he accidentally shot her father in the leg,
yeah,
she was just like, shoot him in the head and let's go.
yeah,
She wanted her father dead. So as far as she was concerned, I think all that target practice, her shooting apples off the top of the butler's
yeah.
head, was practice for her eventually killing off her father.
I mean, the Menendez brothers did do this like 2 years before this movie came out, so maybe that,
Miss Menendez, I guess? I don't know.
yeah, man.
I have no
Uh,
idea.
like I feel like this movie. Okay, if the angels are going to be involved, I feel like they should have been coaching this guy and be like, okay, so you need to. She likes excitement, so what are we going to do next? Like, okay, you kidnapped her. Now you gotta, you know, take her to like meet the cartel. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just trying to think like what would
It's
be
like
more exciting.
the
Rob a
entire
bank.
purpose was to have passive interference to just push the situation along to what they're hoping will be an eventual union.
Yeah.
Uh, I get it. Yeah, I understand maybe having them a little bit more involved rather than just sort of be passively in the background, kind of, well, shooting at him a lot.
Yeah.
Like, really, they
Like,
shot at
what
him a
is up with
lot.
that? Like, how was that supposed to get them together? I don't understand.
Their whole idea
Trauma
was
bond?
using the idea of trauma and peril or fear for their own lives to push them together in love. Like, make them realize that they're perfect for each other by making them realize that, well, I might die soon. I guess I love you. I don't know. I guess
Yeah,
a trauma bond, yeah.
I think that missed the mark. Like, this could have been a really good movie. I think they just went about it all the wrong ways. And I feel like the words that they said in the movie was what was really lacking.
I
Like, the
feel
script was the problem.
I want to say I feel like a lot of it. I love the film. Don't get me wrong. This is one of not one of my favorites, but like I want to say it definitely sticks out in the back of my mind as something that I wanted to watch and maybe have other people experience.
Yeah.
Like, I would recommend this movie to somebody as something that's just unconventional and weird.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of movies are very, very cookie cutter. You pick up a romantic comedy, you pick an action film up, and it's all sort of A, B, C, D. Okay, yeah, I knew all that was going to happen. Great, we're done. This is one of those movies that you pick up and you're like, what in the fuck is happening from point A to point B?
Yeah. Yeah. But see, okay, there is merit to that kind of movie.
Right.
However, I just think they missed the mark. Like, it is so weird. It's so out there, but it could have been done better.
Okay.
Like, that's my main with this cast, it should have been a fantastic movie.
Again, you got now with some of the cast, it could have been a fantastic movie. Keep in mind your two leads are still very young in their careers here. This is
True.
a young Ewan McGregor. This is a 1990s Cameron Diaz. Her career was just kind of starting back then, really. So you could expect a lot more out of your supporting cast. Your angels, you could have expected a lot more of. Ian Holm, the father, you could have expected a lot more out
Yeah.
of.
Tony Shalhoub, they didn't utilize him as much as they should.
Tony Shalhoub was just there for a point A and a point B to pour the
I
shot and then call him an idiot at the end.
I gotta tell you, he was looking real good in this movie. I was like, I have never. I saw him in Wings when he was younger, but I didn't think he looked like hot in Wings. But something in this movie with that Hawaiian shirt, I was just like, "Hello, Tony Shalhoub."
Yeah, this is like what, around
Looking,
the time that he did
looking
the
good.
original Men in Black movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
He was like one of the aliens in the Men in Black movie. I don't remember how early Men in Black was. Was it a few years before or a few years after?
Yeah, I don't know, but I was like, "Damn, Tony Shalhoub looking good in this movie."
Look at me not doing any research. I'm asking you to look up things that I have a phone in front of me that I can look up. When was Men in Black?
I'd pick up my phone, but I keep making loud sounds when I put it back down.
Boom. Yeah, it's a big bump.
Yeah.
It's the same year. Men in Black was the same year that this film.
Okay.
97.
I thought Stanley Tucci also looked pretty good in this movie as well.
Stanley Tucci looked
It's the most manly
like,
I've ever seen him.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'll give you kind of manly. The suit looked good on him.
Yeah, I was like, ooh.
He was good up until he was. I mean, I guess he was a bit buff too. They did have that whole point where he like took his shirt off, like, I'm going to kick your ass. And
yeah.
He got one good punch in, and then obviously that frontal lobe damage had to have slowed him down enough to know you have to. If you laid him out, just lay him the hell out.
Yeah.
He got the basically the headbutt, the whole not foosball. What was I thinking? Rugby headbutt to the fucking nose.
Yeah. So, okay, there is a scene when they're together, when Stanley Tucci and Celine are together.
Yeah.
And they're giggling on the couch, right? She's dressed all sexy. They're giggling. And then she turns over. And when she turns over, she makes this face like, I
feel like to get him to, because this is her ex, to get him to do the work on her current guy's leg, which it's not technically the current guy, just the kidnapper who she's slowly falling in love with. I feel like she had to convince him, like offer him something in return.
Okay.
So she was just absolutely disgusted, like, I can't believe that I'm doing this.
Okay. Because it looked like she was having fun, and then it looked like regret was on her face. But I was like, where, like, we haven't seen that emotion from her at all at any other time. And we don't
Right.
have any backstory to know why she's feeling that way.
I think it was basically just a look of disgust and regret because she had to basically sell a piece of herself to this guy to
Uh,
get the other guy's legs fixed, or the
look,
bullet to the leg.
I do understand the show don't tell, so I get that part. But I felt like we just needed a little bit more to understand why, as soon as she is turning over, she looked that way. I was like, okay, did he molest her? Did he rape her? Is she not wanting to have sex with him? Because she tells the other guy like nothing happened. We didn't do anything. So was it supposed to happen
I
or
feel
not?
like
Like,
with Stanley Tucci, he seems like the kind of guy that I guess maybe her father would have liked. And
yeah,
so she was with him but she broke it off with him because you could tell she didn't like him, was kind of disgusted by him,
yeah,
didn't feel like she was the kind of guy that she wanted to be with. So at that point, if you've already told a guy that you're disgusted with him and then you have to kind of make this grotesque deal with him, I have one question about the whole thing. I'm going to go off on a different point. Her father, after this guy got shot, told her that he is never going to do orthodontic work again.
yeah,
Never.
yeah,
What makes her think that he's going to be able to fish a bullet out of her boyfriend's leg?
yeah.
Like, why would he be the first person to go, I'm not going to take you to a doctor or a hospital. I'm going to take you to a dentist to get your leg taken a look at.
Yeah. It. I mean, I guess technically he is a doctor.
I mean, wrong end of the wrong end of the body there. Like, doctor of
Yeah,
this area here, not that area there.
yeah.
So, doctor of taking bullets. Has he taken a bullet out of some guy's head before or cheek? Did he do his own surgery? Maybe.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if he is a surgical dentist,
Okay.
maybe they have a little bit more doctor stuff that they've had to learn. I don't know. I just got a tooth extracted like 2 weeks ago, and I had a surgeon do it, and he like put a thing in my arm, a vein, not a vein.
A vein.
He put something in my vein. A set,
That's
whatever.
the sedative that
Yeah,
basically makes it so you can't feel anything. Yeah.
yeah. I was under while he did it.
I have to have a tooth extracted back here, right?
Yeah,
And I went to this place downtown, and I was like, okay, well, they looked at my teeth. They're like, okay, we definitely have to pull this tooth here, and get that fixed. And the dentist, the guy that works there, he goes, we don't have to send you to an oral surgeon. We'll just bring you back here and give you some Novocaine and do that. And I'm looking at him like, so you as a dentist have decided we don't need an oral surgeon. We're just going to pull it out ourselves. How about I say no to that,
yeah,
and you can schedule me an oral surgery? And he was like,
yeah,
no, no, no. We can. He was so insistent that he could do it himself. I walked out,
yeah,
and I'm looking for an oral surgeon now. It's like, nope, I don't trust you. You're a dentist, and maybe you're having a little bit too much fun at your job. But I think that the way this dentist works is that I I should have dental insurance by the end of the year through my new
yeah.
job. I finally got my medical and vision insurance, which is why I got these, pardon the word,
Glasses.
but snazzy new glasses.
Yeah,
Uh, and so I got the glasses. I went down there and they quoted me a price, and I think the reason why they wanted me to stay there is because if I could go there to have them pull the tooth, then they can charge me and put me on one of their payment plans.
mm.
So they're sort of a cash business, and if
Okay.
you don't have the money, they'll give you a loan, basically,
Ooh.
which you pay back over a period of time. And I think that's why he was like, no, I'll pull it myself. Because then they could charge me like the extra grand for the extraction. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to have my dental insurance soon. I can take care of this and then have an actual oral surgeon, somebody that I trust to
Yeah.
do the job and put me under, not just give me a shot of Novocaine.
Oh yeah, yeah. As someone who just went through it, um, I definitely would recommend an oral surgeon. Also, mine was broken. It broke, and it was down to like the gum line, and so that's why they had to have an oral surgeon. And I'm still getting pieces of my tooth like falling out of my mouth. So I don't know how well he did. I have no idea. Um, but I have like they told me no information. Hello. Okay, we're still on. We're still good. Oh no.
You still
Oh
there?
yeah, I'm here now.
I'm here. I guess it's recording it as a second thing, so I might have to piece these two things together at the end.
Oh,
That's
okay.
fun. It just cut out
Yeah.
unceremoniously. This is part two of Life Less Ordinary. Just in case I'm not able to piece it together, I'll just say, hey, you know what? Fuck it, it's part two. And if not, then we managed to piece it together and we're fine.
Ta-da!
We were talking about oral surgery. Just, which, are we trying to like insinuate that this movie was like pulling teeth?
Oh yeah, a little bit actually.
I'm sticking to my guns. I'm giving it about a 65. 65 out of 100 if we're going by IMDb or Rotten Tomato ratings. I'm not going to give it like bottom of the barrel. I don't think that's right. This is not an absolute trash movie. I think we still got great performances from a lot of the actors in this film. I just think that the idea, it felt like it just was everywhere. There was
Can
a
I?
lot
Oh,
to
sorry.
process. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can I bring up something kind of controversial? I guess.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so I equate this movie that we saw to Blake Lively's version of It Ends With Us.
Okay.
She did not read the book and didn't really know what the book was about, and was promoting the movie as like a gal pal movie. Like, wear your florals, come to the movie, have fun with your friends, kick back and watch this love story. While the real truth of the movie is it's about domestic violence and how the pattern that her mother had as growing up, she saw the abuse. She saw how her mom stayed with her dad even though he was an abusive bastard. And she said she would never do that. She would never live that life. She leaves and then finds this charming man and doesn't see the red flags that he is exactly like her dad. And that is what the movie is about. It's not about romance. And it's like that is what I watched. I watched a movie that was not a not a romance movie at all. It was a bizarre, twisted movie that so far went away from what the plot made it seem like.
The big difference between the two is Cameron Diaz ends up with the psychopath that trapped her into all this shit,
But he's not the
not some other
psychopath.
guy.
She's the psychopath. He's a normal person
Right,
who
right, right.
like anytime things happen, he was just like, oh, I didn't need for that to happen.
He's like the normal guy that suddenly falls in love with the batshit crazy girl. It's like, I'm going to do
Yeah,
anything to be with you.
yeah,
This is absolutely nuts. And every situation that you get me into is absolutely life threatening, but for some reason, I love you.
Yeah.
And he is constantly trying, again, throughout the entire film, just trying to up it and up it and up it and up it. The one time that he should have protested, he didn't.
Yeah.
He really, really didn't. And I would be Stanley Tucci in this situation. Like, girl, wait a minute. What do you mean, arrow? You're pointing at my heart. The guy's behind. What do you do? Don't shoot. Don't fucking shoot. And then she shoots him in the heart.
Yeah.
I
And then he has light shining through. What is
A
with that?
miraculous intervention by God.
I was like, is he like an angel, or like what, was he like a special member to God? Like, what is this character?
Her shooting him through the heart and him standing there and letting her shoot him in the heart was supposed to be this final act of union and love. And this is why God intervened on Gabriel's behalf. And I'm sitting here, that's the part where they lost me. Like, I'm
They
sitting,
lost you then.
that's when they lost me. The very end of the movie, and I'm just
That's
like,
that's when the wheels fell off for you.
that's when the wheels fell off for me, yeah. That's why I'm able to give it a 65, because up until then, I was just like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. Like, she's going to shoot him. Why are you going to shoot him? Don't shoot him. Right in the heart. He's going to die. And then he just sat there and took it, like with no
Yeah.
protest whatsoever. I don't know a human being alive that, even if they loved the crazy girl, would be like, yeah, let's see if you can shoot through me and get the guy at the back.
Right.
Do it. No. Are
So
you fucking crazy? Don't point that at me.
they lost me, like really lost me, around Beyond the Sea.
Okay.
Um, so they were sitting there at this place, and then all of a sudden they were like, "So we have this best recording artist, right?" That like the guy was introducing him, like he was a well-known artist,
Right.
and everybody was very excited, and I was very confused. I'm like,
Oh no,
"Dude,
not
is he?"
everybody was excited. There was several people going, "Who the fuck is this?"
Yeah, but like a lot of people were like, "Woo!" And I was like, "Are we supposed to know who this is?"
I get the feeling that a lot of people out there were about as out of touch and clueless as the guy that was introducing them. The gentleman who the
Yeah,
only thing he watches is the Christian channels.
yeah.
I watch the biblical stuff on TV.
So then he goes and he starts singing, and I'm like, okay. And then they have this whole dance montage,
And then she
and
tried
then
to
he,
sing.
yeah, yeah, well, okay, okay, very interesting, because in my best friend's wedding, she sings and does a horrible job, and she said that's how she really sings.
Yep. Yeah.
And I was like, but she sounded decent in this movie.
You called that decent?
I mean, it better than she was in my best friend's wedding.
I'm just happy he sang louder.
True, yeah, true. Because he is a known singer, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. He did a lot
Yeah,
of his
because
stuff for like Moulin Rouge and a couple of other
okay, I thought
things.
so. I thought so. I've
Uh,
never seen Moulin Rouge, because I don't like Nicole Kidman,
that's another
so I've never
musical I want to
seen
do.
it.
Sorry, Down with
I
Love.
I want to see Moulin Rouge because I've never seen it, but I've not seen it.
I'll tell
Or
you what.
Chicago. I've never seen Chicago either.
I'll tell you what. I'll bring you on specifically to talk about Moulin Rouge,
Okay,
and that'll
I've
give you
never
a
heard.
reason to watch it.
Yeah, because I'm not a Nicole Kidman fan. I quite dislike her.
You know, though, I think that the fact that she is almost that she has a lot of prominent parts, but she feels like almost like a background character in a movie that was supposed to have her as a star. Like the pursuit and the people that Ewan McGregor is around seems to be a
Yeah.
lot more of a focus
Mm.
than her, really. So
But yeah, and then all of a sudden they're on the bar dancing in weird costumes, and
at this point, he had drank too much, though. That's when the
so
booze
then
kicked in.
I was like, is he dreaming? Is this real? And then he wakes up, and I was like, okay, they did it. So did they actually do this dance stuff? Like what?
I,
So confusing.
I remember him continually talking to her about having these weird dreams about her. And
Yeah.
I loved how the first time he mentioned it, he's like, okay, now I feel violated. Have a drink, you know? Uh, but like, he keeps trying to tell her that you were in one of these dreams where my life was in danger, and it was like a game show of some sort. And I really
Yeah.
felt like they kept showing little blurs of him blindfolded and tied to something like a spinning wheel, but they never show like the full sequence or give you the full idea of what he was talking about.
Yeah.
I feel like they missed an opportunity there to give the movie just a little bit more.
Yeah, because I feel like it seemed like maybe it was all a dream, and maybe she was the kidnapper. Like that's what it seemed like it could have gone, but it didn't. And then,
Oh no, she definitely kidnapped him. She did.
well,
Because
yeah,
it started out
technically,
as him being the kidnapper, and then she took control of everything. Like she was completely in control for at least 95% of that film.
okay, so I actually have something which I'm sure nobody else, maybe people thought about, but
Okay.
this bothered me. So we see a scene where he's cooking, right? And she is chopping wood.
Right.
And you're like, okay, all right. But later on in the movie, when the tire needs to be changed, why wasn't it her changing the tire? Because I felt like if she's the one that's chopping wood, she would be the one that like would be changing the tire. You know, like that seemed like that would have been. I would have done that because he's just useless. Like to show how useless he is.
I feel like the chopping wood was just her showing, like, I can take care of myself. I don't need you to do shit for me. I'm going to
Yeah,
make sure that I'll chop the wood. She's got an axe in her hand, which is an act of violence to begin with,
yeah,
right? Her chopping the wood and showing her strength of doing that. But changing the tire, on the other hand, it's a menial task. And I think that she would feel that her changing the tire might be a little bit beneath her. No, you can do that. You can get on the ground and deal with that.
yeah.
I'm not going to do it.
I just kind of thought like if she's chopping the wood, then she would be the one that would be changing the tire. Like that
Oh, no, that's her exerting
equated to
her
me.
dominance over him.
Yeah,
That's her basically. No, I'm not going to do that. You do that. It's she's chopping the wood to show her that she doesn't need him,
yeah,
and then she's making him change the tire to show him I still have control over you. You do it.
yeah. I guess. Well, plus she never even driven before, so she probably wouldn't know how to change it. But I just thought she probably never chopped wood before either.
She's definitely used weaponry before.
Yes, yes, she has used weapons, but
Maybe she was chopping something else. It wasn't necessarily wood. Well, if it goes through flesh, it'll go through wood. I don't know. I was
okay,
chopping those
Lorraine
apples.
Bobbitt.
I was thinking Lizzie Borden, but okay. Lizzie Borden had her axe and gave her father 50 whacks.
Yeah, but no one would really care about that. I think every man would be more afraid of Lizzie Borden, right? Not Lizzie Borden. What did
Lorena
I say?
Bobbitt. That was
Yeah,
very
Lorraine Bobbitt.
specific surgery right there. That was very specific. We're not looking to kill you. We're just looking to make you think twice.
Yeah, you can't definitely can't go to uh, a dentist for that fix.
And by the way, whatever she did to him didn't work. You know that, right?
Right.
Because he had a porn movie later on, like that year, literally
Yeah.
called John Bobbitt Uncut.
Yeah. Well, everybody wanted to see him in full repair.
No, not everybody. I know that it exists. I'm not watching it.
Yeah. No, not me either.
Like, wait a minute. No, no, no. That shouldn't be your response to, I cheated on my wife and she cut my dick off. That's your response. Let's make a porn movie.
Yeah.
No.
And well, that's the kind of person we're dealing with, you know. I believe that he totally deserved for his dick to be cut off. Now, should she have done it? No.
Just because somebody's deserving of having something done to them doesn't necessarily mean you should do it.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys that probably should be castrated.
I am absolutely and genuinely surprised that didn't set off like a rash of people doing that around the country. I really am surprised. I would have thought that would have happened, but no, I guess people had a little bit more self-restraint. Uh,
Don't think every woman hadn't thought about it though.
I don't want to think about it. I'm good.
Be like, he's just laying there, that piece of shit. And
Yeah.
I bet a lot of women be like, and I would do it with my nail kit. I'd make it really painful and
I
jagged.
I would use my emery board
Uh-huh.
or a spoon.
Yeah.
A one of those grapefruit spoons, with the serrated edges.
A spork.
A spoon. Good lord. So, do they make metal sporks? I know they make metal spoons and metal
Yeah.
forks, but sporks.
I don't know.
I've only ever seen a plastic spork.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think the first time I ever saw one was at Taco Bell.
I guess I'm going to be looking up metal sporks later on. Okay, is there anything you thought this film did well?
Befuddled me. They
Other than confused you? Because I know you don't like the film. I'm just wondering if there's anything you thought the film did well.
um the first, I would say, like 20 minutes of it I really enjoyed. um it just went off the rails after that, like, just completely. I will say the music at the very beginning bothered me. It
Okay.
was really loud and very annoying, and I was just like, when is this gonna stop? Like, why is this music just keep going?
You know what bothered
um
me?
what?
What really bothered me was the opening, not the credit, the thing that showed 20th Century Fox back when they were still doing that.
Yeah.
That always took me out of a film. I like that they eliminated that.
Really?
Yeah, I hated that fanfare at the beginning of a film because if it doesn't fit into the type of film that you're about to watch, it
Uh-huh.
immediately takes you out of it.
Huh.
You should have the option to just not play that.
I actually like it.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm a fan of, because it feels like it's okay. It's starting. Like, here we go.
Like I like the MGM Lion. It's the 20th Century Fox fanfare
Rawr.
that I don't like.
So I didn't post this on social media, but uh, I have been a huge advocate of how much I hate Goonies. Never been a fan. My sister loves that movie. I could care less. Well, on the 19th, we went and saw Goonies in the movie theater.
Okay.
And it was bring your own bucket to the Cinemark to get $5 popcorn. So you could bring a huge bucket, and it would only cost you $5 to get popcorn. So I was automatically already jazzed about this. Um, Even though I really can't eat popcorn, so I only had a few pieces, but still, I was excited just to see what kind of buckets people would bring.
Okay.
I was at the movie, and I enjoyed it more than probably anybody else in that entire theater. So I am a hypocrite. Maybe one day I might like this movie. Today is not that day. But I really enjoyed Goonies more than I have any other time I watched it. I guess seeing it on the big screen changed it. So maybe if I saw this movie in the big screen, maybe it might have changed my mind.
It's
But
also
watching it just, ugh,
it's
it's
also
awful.
sort of I've had this experience with some films. In the reverse, mind you. So like a film that I grew up absolutely loving, like this is a great film. I love this film. I watched it so many times as a kid and I'll rant and I'll rave and I'll say this is a fantastic film.
Yeah,
And then I sit down and watch it like now.
yeah.
And I've got a couple of Blu-rays on my shelf that are exactly like this, and I'm looking at like I bought this film. I can't believe I spent $30 for this film. Why? You know, uh, and I'm gonna give hate to a movie right now. It's not that I don't. It's not that I don't like the movie,
Uh,
but I definitely don't like it as much as I remember having loved it as a kid or even in my teens.
uh,
Monster Squad.
okay.
Which is sort of a Goonies rip-off kind of movie. They were trying to go with the Goonies vibe, you
Yeah.
know, and have like just the team of kids go up against all odds. In this case, it's like the Universal monsters or whatever. But I remember like just ranting and raving, loving that film, loving that film. So many people love that film. And I watched it recently and I was just like, why did I enjoy this so much? This is really stupid. And there were a couple of things that obviously I laughed at, like shoot him in the
Yeah.
nards. Wolfman got no nards, just shoot him. You know, that I remember. But outside of that, like a lot of the comedy, the humor of it just fell dead flat for me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just that it's a kid's film or I've grown up past that kind of humor. You know, there's a lot of films like that I absolutely loved, and I think it might be like just with the Goonies, you might have
Yeah.
been throwing so much hate at it, like I really don't like this movie, it's bad, it's horrible, blah 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 blah. And then you hate something so much
Yeah.
and have a chance to watch it from a different perspective, and you're like, why did I hate this so much?
Well, like we watched it pretty recently. Like it was had to have been in the last year that me and my sister watched it because I thought I had already done it for the podcast, but I couldn't really find it. But anyways, uh
I remember you
I'd
mentioning
never
it to me.
seen it. Yeah, I'd never seen it in theaters. So I don't know if it maybe just I was in a good mood and it was like all the popcorn stuff and then watching it and the big screen just made me feel a little bit different about the movie because I was like the only one laughing. I was enjoying this movie so much. I cannot explain how jazzed I was about it.
I had a similar experience with my son recently. So movies, when you watch them at home, like I've got like a 55-inch television that's decent size.
Yeah,
I've been wanting to upgrade. I've got a big enough space now that if I want to, I could bump it up to a 70-inch. I may
yeah.
wait for that because I really don't need it right now. But we went out to the movies to watch a film that had been out of the theaters for 70 plus years.
Oh
And
wow.
we went to bring him to his first Alfred Hitchcock film. So Cinemac was
Okay.
playing all sorts of films, and they had Rear Window, which was a great Hitchcock film. Uh, they
I own it, never watched it.
they played the colorized version for us. I kind of was hoping it was going to be the black and white, but they gave us the colorized version. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm fine with that. Ted Turner, why'd you add color to everything? Uh, but I feel like he would not have loved the film as much if we had watched it here on the 55 inch rather than the big screen.
Yeah.
You can fall in love with almost any crap movie. Even if you don't like something, you can fall in love with almost anything if you're given that opportunity to watch it on the big screen.
Oh yeah, cuz like when we saw A Quiet Place, it wouldn't hit the same watching
Oh,
it
yeah.
at home. Because you need that tension. You need like we couldn't even hear people eating. Like everybody was just sitting there
Right.
quiet watching this movie. Or the one with Leo and the bear. I bring it up all the time. Uh, oh, oh God, what is it called?
The Revenant?
Yes, The Revenant. Like you have to see it in the theater to really understand like when he was cold and ice cold, like you felt cold in the movie. Like it was so intense.
Right.
And I don't know if you would get that by watching it at home.
It's one of those things where you're just surrounded by the film. Like, I'm sure you could
Yeah.
make a home theater experience that felt similar,
Yeah.
but having the opportunity to watch it in front of, like, you know, this massive screen with what is basically the epitome of sound,
Yeah.
you know, the way that films are meant to be seen is in the theater.
Yeah.
This is, you know, what I have to watch here. Like, I have just a TV. I don't have surround sound. I don't have a sound bar. I don't have anything that enhances the sound.
Yeah.
So what I'm watching is a TV movie.
Yeah.
I would probably rant and rave about how much better this film was. It'd probably have better than a 65 if I was sitting in the theater watching the same thing. You
Yeah.
know?
That's why I was saying, like, if I saw this when I went and saw the Grindhouse movies, um, if they like just inserted this movie in that bunch, I might be like, wow, this is really interesting. This is a crazy movie.
Right.
It's pretty good. But watching it now, I'm just like, meh.
Now, as
Ho
crazy
hum.
movies go, I have watched much crazier films than this. I mean,
Oh yeah, I've watched more terrible movies than this.
and I've watched crazier films that I've loved more. Like I Tiptoes. I mean, I watched that with you. You know, that was a,
You know what? I actually saw something about that the other day, and I meant to send it to you, but I forgot. It was like uh, actors that are in like movies you've never heard of, and then it was like movies that are really good that no one's ever heard of, and Tiptoes was in both of those, and I was like, how is that possible?
I figured out a way, and I'm going to say this on video so that we can get it out on YouTube and I can get it out on several different other platforms. But I've figured
Okay.
out a way. Here's what we need to do: we need to do a write in campaign to this company called Vinegar Syndrome.
Uh-huh.
Vinegar Syndrome makes boutique Blu rays. They deal with a bunch of different companies where they find like original cuts of different films. They do film preservation. Like I have gotten to see an R-rated version of Tammy and the T-Rex, which was a movie from back in like the early 90s that was like Paul Walker's first big film
Oh well.
alongside of Denise Richards. And they have taken so many films and given like director's cuts and alternate versions of so many films that I think they would be the perfect company to do a write-in campaign to get the director's cut version of Tiptoes out there.
Yeah.
Like I think they would do it, but we've got to write into them. So I'm going to write into them and I'm going to be like, look, I've seen Tiptoes. I know that there is a director's cut out there somewhere, the
Yeah.
director's original vision. Find it, preserve it, make a Blu-ray of it, make a 4K of it, and I will buy it.
Um, there's a that new movie that's out in the movies that's like 3 hours long. Bol- Boulder Lust.
Don't know what you're talking
Oh
about.
gosh. It just won two Golden Globes, I think.
Okay.
It
Still don't know what you're
has
talking about.
Adrian Brody in it.
Okay. Okay. I
I'm
know
looking it
Adrian
up.
Brody. I still don't know what you're talking about, though.
I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up.
All right. No, take your time. You started mentioning something, and I'm like, I'm Boulder, Lust, Bull Durham, Bullworth.
Uh,
I have no idea. You say I don't know any.
Brutalist. The Brutalist.
The
That's what
Brutalist.
it's called.
Okay.
The Brutalist. It took like 7 years to make, and they did it with film. Um, and like apparently normally film reels go vertical. Theirs goes horizontal, so it uses more of the film itself, so you can really like see everything that
Okay.
they wanted through the lens. It's this whole big thing, but it's like 3 hours long, and they actually have an intermission in the middle of the movie, so you can go to the bathroom and come back and finish it. But
Intermission. I just
uh,
watched a film with an intermission, but it's not anything recent.
yeah,
So
and it took it like all these people said this movie you shouldn't make it. It's not going to be good. Don't waste your time. Blah 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 blah. But it's supposed to be like a really good movie. I've
and it
heard nothing but good things about it.
and it won 2 Golden Globes
Uh
recently.
huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it in the theaters
Um,
right now?
yes, yes, it's in the theaters right now, and it makes me kind of want to go see it. I like movies when they take chances and they're unique and they're different, but this movie just ain't it.
All of
Just
A24's catalog is exactly that. Okay. So, given that we both have we have disagreements about this film,
yeah.
and I've already told you I'd give it about a 65 out of 100. What would you give it?
Oh God, like I want to say 47.
Okay.
I just felt like with the cast that was in it, should have been better.
Okay. I mean, I'll give you that. Uh, like I said, I think that with if you had current day Cameron Diaz in this film, you probably would have gotten a hell of a better performance out of her.
Did you watch her new movie?
I have not gotten to yet. I am
Uh,
supposed to watch it this weekend.
yeah. Um, it's really good. I really liked it.
The one with
Um,
Jamie Foxx on Netflix,
yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
I thought that was a really good movie. She's a great actress. I like her in most everything I've seen. I liked her in this movie. It wasn't. It was not their acting that fell short for me. I really think it's the screen um, play itself, like the actual words, the dialogue, the you can only do so much with what they give you, and I thought what they gave them was not very good.
So to give you an idea of where in her career this film is. This film took place 3 years after The Mask, but a
Yeah,
year before she made Something About Mary.
yeah,
So it's like right in there. I think Something About Mary she had hit her stride. Like she was starting to come into the whole romantic comedy thing and really
yeah,
doing a decent job. Prior to that, like The Mask didn't really require her to do a lot of like acting. It relied on her looks more than it did anything else,
yeah.
and the fact that Jim Carrey is just outlandish.
True.
Uh, so I think that she had not gotten to the point where she had been past Hollywood looking at her as a physical entity. She hadn't gotten past that yet.
Yeah,
I think she did that the following year with There's Something About Mary. Right here, she was still trying to find herself as an actress. Ewan McGregor, I think maybe he had done Train Spotting prior to this, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, this is still an early film in his career, if I'm not mistaken. This like Train Spotting was done a year before this,
yeah.
so he had really hit the map with that film. Ewan McGregor, very young in his career. They didn't use Tony Shalhoub enough.
No,
Um,
we need more Tony.
more Tony. Everything needs more Tony. He's like
Yeah.
Cowbell in an SNL sketch.
Hmm.
Uh, more Tony Shalhoub. Uh,
Exactly.
I do not do a Christopher Walken impression. That was horrible. Uh,
It's pretty good.
uh, again, I feel like there wasn't a lot of chemistry between Delroy Lindo and Holly Hunter as the Angels. I
No.
think they could have found, as much as I like Delroy Lindo, nothing against him as an actor ever.
Yeah.
I just feel like he felt out of place. They could have either removed him or had somebody that just had a little bit more charisma with Holly Hunter.
Yeah.
So I think that might have fallen apart there. I think Dan Hedaya playing Gabriel was great for what little they
Actually,
used him in it.
I actually think that Stanley Tucci would have been a better Angel with Holly Hunter. Like I feel like their chemistry would have been really good.
Oh, what if they had killed Stanley Tucci in the beginning and he was forced to try to put them in a position where they were in love?
Yeah.
Like she didn't know that she actually killed him.
Yeah.
That would have been a nice little twist. Like take
Right.
Stanley Tucci and be like, okay, well, you've been killed because you were an asshole to her, but now to redeem yourself, you're going to help her fall in love with this guy.
Yeah.
That
But
would
I think that those two angels would have played off better with each other.
right. You needed somebody equally as charismatic in the scene,
Yeah.
and I think Delroy Lindo was out of his element trying to play neurotic.
Yeah, because he would have been a good sheriff. He would have been good at that part.
Right.
I feel like Stanley Tucci is a scene stealer, and he did not steal any scenes in this movie. And is it because of the writing? Is it because of the part that he was playing? I don't know. Um, but I feel like he wasn't utilized in the best way, nor was uh, our man Tony Shalhoub.
Right.
They just weren't utilized in the best
Two
ways.
great charismatic actors that just were put in heavily background scenes. Like they weren't
Yeah,
put in anything where they could shine as actors.
right.
So yeah, that's what I said. I think I agree. They definitely misused their cast. They could have. given, like, you could have switched out Delroy Lindo with Dan Hedaya, and Delroy would have
Yeah,
done great there. I don't
yeah.
want to get rid of Dan Hedaya. I like him. I
Mm.
think he did great where he was.
He could have been the dad. I think that would have been better. I didn't like the guy who played the dad.
Ian Holm?
Um, yeah, like
Yeah.
uh, he was a great dad to share on Clueless. So to me, he's a dad. I could have seen that.
He's been the dad of a, well, not, I guess this is a bitchy blonde rather than a ditzy blonde. So,
Yeah,
because yeah, Cher was a little ditzy.
yeah,
Yeah, she was very smart, but it was overplayed by the whole Valley Girl thing.
right,
You know.
right.
Uh, all right. Any final thoughts about the films? The film, not films.
The film. Um, I just feel like if we could go back in time and they called me and they were like, Sarah, we need you to come and like just tweak this. And I'm like, okay, guys, I will come. I will do your bidding. We're going to make this movie better. I feel like that they just needed new eyes on the film. And you can be weird, but like really be weird, do it in the best way possible. And I felt like it just seemed like maybe kind of like Tiptoes. Maybe all the best scenes are on the cutting room floor, and we didn't get everything we should have gotten. I just felt like it wasn't weird enough if it was going to be weird.
You didn't feel this was weird enough?
Oh no, it was weird. It just wasn't good weird.
Okay, okay. It was. I thought it was like 100 mile per hour weird film.
Yeah,
There are a lot of elements that would have, like you were saying, like, there's some elements that felt like maybe they left some stuff on the cutting room floor that they shouldn't have. There were some characters that if you had sort of switched them around a little bit, one or two characters that honestly, if you had found somebody slightly more charismatic or a little better to fill out the shoes, it
yeah,
would have been better. The slight tweaks to the story, like I'm standing by my guns. Stanley Tucci gets killed and becomes one of the angels.
yeah. I think that'd
Standing
be a
by
good
my
idea.
guns. Uh,
You know, like you say, it's 100 miles per hour. I feel like it wants to be the Superman Tower of Power that shoots you up real high and then like drops you down slowly, but then like really drops you down, right?
right.
But to me, it's more like a Ferris wheel. Like you go fast, and then it slows down, and then it goes fast, and then it like you just it breaks down, and you're just stuck hanging up there for a while. Like
It's like
that's what it felt like to me.
imagine the Superman slingshot where it shoots you out really fast and you go really fast over the deep chasm and you're excited and you're loving it, but the swing back, it's like it stops all the way out there and then just swings
Yeah,
you back slowly.
yeah. Like that. That's kind of what happened. It was a horrible boomerang that wasn't hitting its target.
So you give it a 47, I give it a 65. I mean, that's all I've really got to say about the film. It was weird. I enjoyed it. I did not regret having picked it up and watch it again. I can understand why my family members were like, "Hey, what are you going to watch?" I go, "I'm going to watch Life Less Ordinary." Okay, you do that. And then they went to the other room.
Yeah,
It's like we're going to watch our own thing over here. Uh, I've got several other films on queue for this weekend that I have to watch. So it's a bunch of weird films
of
that are,
course.
oh yeah, I'm gonna watch like Vibes, Barbarella. This was all the suggestion of the Strange and Beautiful book club. Some weird stuff, and yeah, I want to have you on to do Moulin Rouge, which is a weird film unto itself. Any film
Yeah.
that takes an actor, much like we did with Tiptoes, and turns them into a dwarf that they are not. It's like you couldn't have found a dwarf actor for this role. No, you had to use Gary Oldman of all things, of
Yeah.
all people. In this particular case, the dwarf in Moulin Rouge is played by John Leguizamo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Uh, as he would say, His name is Toulouse-Lautrec Montfort. It's interesting. It's an interesting film. I think you'll enjoy it if you like musicals.
I do like musicals.
Another suggestion, again, is Ewan McGregor and Renee Zellweger in Down with Love.
Oh, okay.
That's another kind of interesting, weird musical.
I feel like I've seen that, or at least I've heard of it.
You may have. I mean, it was. They were hoping it would be a really popular film, like a big musical, and I think it shit the bed. It wasn't the best,
Yeah.
but that's what we watch over here. Is things that aren't necessarily the best that you get to talk about and go, how could they have done that a little bit better?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's by the way, that's what I want for a sequel for the film. Is I want her the brain injury that she gave him to basically have slowly killed him. By the end of the movie, he is now in Delroy Lindo's place in the sequel. And he is like, okay, to redeem yourself after all the shitty things that you did to her, you have to help them stay together as a couple, because now they're getting ready to get divorced.
Right.
So we can't let them get divorced because we thought this was the perfect union.
Yeah.
So it's been years, though. It's been a good 30 years, right? So at this point, they're getting divorced, but they had a good 30-year run.
Speaking of when we were talking about things that were awesome in our past and they kind of suck now, I saw this TikTok and this guy was like, I loved all those shows from like Nickelodeon, like Double Dare and the one where they like climb a mountain.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? And he said like the prizes were so cool. And he goes, I rewatched it. Those prizes sucked. He was like,
they were the prizes you wanted as a kid.
Yeah, he goes, the first round prize for the losers on this one show was LA Looks hair gel. And he was like, I so wanted LA Looks hair gel. And then the second round, when they didn't win, it was this weird, it's kind of like a push pop or like a ring pop, but it was like in a longer tube. And
okay, goes, I know what that was. Yep.
Yeah, he was like, did they go to the grocery store and just buy LA Gel and this candy? Like, it's so weird. And then the next show he's talked about, they got all the way to the end, and their big prize for not winning, but their prize for getting in like second place was a pair of Skechers shoes and Nestle Quick. And he goes, I wanted that Quick so bad. He's like, what?
It was things that appealed to kids at the time, you know?
Yeah. He goes, I watched it with my kid, and he was like, what the hell kind of crap prizes are these?
A lifetime supply of Nestle Quick. No, not a lifetime supply. Just a 1 year supply.
Yeah, it was just like just a cup of Nestle Quick. I don't...
Like, how much did they get for that? Like, we're going to give you Nestle Quick.
Yeah.
I could have done that at the grocery store and not drowned myself in slime.
Right.
You know, I could have just gone out and done that for $2, but well, maybe $1 back then.
It was the LA Hair Looks gel that really got me.
Oh, the gel. Have you ever actually seen the LA Looks gel? Like, it was nasty smelling, nasty looking.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a neon pink.
My dad used to spike his hair because he was in the military, and
me too.
He used to use all that kind of stuff.
For the longest time when I was younger, I had like this flat top.
Yeah.
It was horrible looking.
Yeah, my dad had like short hair and he would spike it up and using that gel.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the podcast now. Sarah, why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners and watchers where they can find your podcast?
Well, if you want to hear more commentary about my random LA Looks hair gel or what I think about movies, you can find me at Two Chicks Talkin Flicks on all platforms. And yeah, still alive on TikTok because it's back, baby.
I will be entirely honest. I am not using the TikTok platform to the best of my ability.
You really should, because I feel like that's where all the movie review people are at.
I really should, but I'm also doing a solo gig of like managing all of these things through like YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and this, that, and the other thing. And pardon me.
Bless you.
And it is a lot. A lot.
Yeah.
And so
Tell
TikTok
me about
was
it.
the last thing that I got to, and I'm just trying to get some stuff up there now.
Yeah.
But it's a lot.
It is difficult. I'm a solo person on my journey as well, so it's quite a bit.
So very little self-promotion for ourselves. You can find us again, Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr. I am still on X.
Tumblr?
Tumblr. Yeah, we have a Tumblr thing. We don't have a lot on Tumblr.
No TikTok, but he has Tumblr.
I have a TikTok. We have a TikTok. It's just not well used. There's more stuff on Tumblr than there is on TikTok.
I would make a bid to change that.
We got a little random stuff on like Reddit and on like what is that? The Instagram thing now.
Reels.
Not Reels. The little side gig that they have now that's supposed to be like an X replacement.
Oh yeah, strings.
Threads.
Threads. I was close. String, threads, whatever.
Strings, threads, yarn. We're on yarn. Well, that's where all the grandparents go, and I'm getting there. Anyway.
I'm still on Facebook. I get it.
And we're trying to get a bit of a presence on YouTube, and we're trying to hope to continue to have a presence on YouTube. So like, share, subscribe. We have about 44 subscribers right now, which is fine. I don't mind. The only reason I push it, I don't like to talk about how many people we have in any particular place.
Yeah.
But to be able to continue to release videos that are more than an hour long, we need to get to a certain place within a year's time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to, is a certain place so that we can continue to do what we're doing.
You know that the YouTube execs were salivating the day TikTok was offline. They were like, yes, they're all coming back, baby. And then the next day they're like, shit.
We had our mojo back for all of 5 seconds. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Because, well, it was them, and Instagram was just like, oh, now Reels are going to mean more.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope.
You can do the same thing on Instagram. Why aren't they doing it over here? Because
TikTok.
It
sucks. It doesn't work. You can't do more than a minute. It bothers me.
TikTok fills that gap from all the people that used to like Musical.ly before TikTok bought them out, and used to like, Vines?
Yeah.
You know,
I didn't know any of that stuff.
I know a little bit too much of it, but I got 2 kids in my house that went through their whole teenage phase and showed me a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, can we sit down and watch all these, Dad? And then he's showing my son's showing me Vines, and I'm like, why aren't we on the actual Vines app watching this? Why are we watching it on YouTube? Well, because they're all compiled into one YouTube video. So there were YouTubers that were making money by going to Vine and getting all of the stuff from Vine together, the best stuff, and making videos of those Vines and putting them on YouTube.
Yeah. It's so weird.
It's like, it's a little all over the place. It feels like how we've been trying to cross-promote our podcast. It's just everywhere. Right? All right. Thank you. And once again, I am trying to find a sign-off of my own. So if you have any suggestions for a sign-off for me, something to come out of my mouth, because I keep saying my friend Nico's sign-off of drink some water, you thirsty bitches. It doesn't sound right coming out of my mouth. So if you can think of something that would sound entertaining, if you want me to say some seriously goofy shit to sign off of this podcast, put it in the comments below. It doesn't matter if it's on Facebook, doesn't matter if it's on YouTube, wherever the hell you put it. The funniest thing that you write for me to sign off of the podcast, and I will do it on one of these podcasts.
You've been popped.
Right. Thank you for listening, and you've been popped.